Hi people, you're welcome back to my channel. My name is Sinka. So today I'm going to be showing you what I normally do to achieve a perfect and a flawless back bodice that follow the shape of an individual that is wearing the dress. You can see how beautiful the back of this dress is. It follows the shape of the zipper at the back all the way to under the butt. Everything was just as it's supposed to be. Okay, so especially for people with smaller waists and big bum bum, you can see how it follows and taper underneath the butt. Yeah, so today I'm going to be showing you the little secret behind it. So by the way, this was highly requested for underneath this post. Remember this basket yoke tutorial? Yeah, a lot of people asked me that I should teach them how I achieve the back. So let's get into it. So first I'll fold my fabric into two, and after that I'll fold it like this, such that I'll leave my zip allowance. You can see the way I've folded it here. To achieve this perfect look, you have to get your sketch right, okay? So first I'll measure ½ inch and I'll rule it. This will be the seam allowance that I'm going to be using to join this skirt to the upper part of the dress, okay? So at this line, I'm going to place the waist length measurement, and from there I'll measure the hip line. Then I'll measure the knee, the gown knee, okay? Then, of course, the length of the dress. Then I'm going to extend the lines. Next, I'll come to the waistline, and from the folded edge here, I'm going to measure inward the waist circumference divided by 4 plus 1 inch for my dart, and then 2 inches for my seam allowance. Then I'll come to the hip line. I'm going to import the hip circumference divided by 4, then plus my seam allowance. Don't forget I'm measuring from the folded edge here. Okay, then I'll come to the knee. Whatever I have on the hip line, I'm going to subtract 1 and put it on the knee. Okay, then I'll come to the M line. Whatever I have on the hip line, I'm going to subtract 2 and put it at the M line. Hope it's clear. All right, so I'm going to connect these points together. You can see the way I'm positioning the cuff. So yeah, so the next thing, from the knee, I'm going to roll it straight to go and meet the point that I have on the hemline, like so. Next, I'll come to this side, starting from the folded edge here. I'm going to input the dart position. Your dart position is your nipple to nipple divided by 2. Then from the folded edge here, I'm going to measure towards the side 1 inch. Then I'll go to the hip line. I'm going to measure 1.75. Then I'll go to the knee. I'll just mark where the folded edge is exactly. Then I'm going to connect these points together. Then from this hip, I'll just connect it to the knee like this. Then I'm going to roll it straight down from the knee all the way down. I will even go in underneath the folded edge like ½ inch when I'm cutting it. You'll see the way I'm going to cut it when I'm cutting it. So just connect it together like this. It's very simple. Then I'm going to minus ½ inch from the waistline like this. You can see, just minus ½ inch from the waistline and connect it back to the side seam. Then I'm going to go ahead, I'll cut it off. So when I'm cutting now, I will lift the folded edge up, and like I said, I'll go in a little more, like ½ inch away from the line that I rolled from that knee towards the M line like this. Can you see? Then I'm going to cut the side seam. Next, I'll notch the appropriate places. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is to carry the back, And then from the top, you know, we already mark ½ inch, so you're going to cut off that ½ inch on only the back. Can you see the way I've done it? Just remove ½ inch. Can you see? Yeah, don't need that again. Then the next thing you have to do is to mark your zip allowance. Your zip allowance will be 1.75, so mark it this way, and then you will notch it, and from that point you mark your dot position, which is your nipple to nipple divided by 2. You also mark it and you put your notch. So the back is ready. So for the front, you also remove that ½ inch. Then don't forget to put your dart position. Your dart position is your nipple to nipple distance divided by 2. You mark it and notch. And yeah, we are done. The next thing now is just to use the lining to cut out the Ankara fabric. Don't forget, you're going to be adding your seam allowance of the length to the Ankara fabric. You know, we didn't add any seam allowance to the length of the lining. Okay, so you had your seam allowance to the hem line of the Ankara. Don't forget to also notch the right positions. Okay, so this is what I'm saying. You're going to leave your seam allowance at the hem line. Can you see the way I left my seam allowance on the Ankara part here? All right. Let's move on to the upper part. First, you roll your guideline so that you can have a starting point. Then after that, you're going to measure your zip allowance. I'm using 1.75 for the zip allowance, and I'm going to mark it and roll it straight down. Next, from the guideline, you're going to measure the waist length. The back waist length is your normal waist length minus 1. So you mark that, and you're going to extend the line. Next, you move to the waist length, and from that point, you're going to go in by 1 inch, and you are going to blend it back upward like this. Then you also mark it this way. Can you see? This is the zip allowance. The next thing you're going to do is to measure the armhole. You measure the armhole length, and you're going to roll the armhole length. So on the guideline, you're going to put the shoulder divided by 2, and you're going to roll it to the armhole length, that is the chest line. Then you mark 3 inches this way, and you're going to slant the shoulder by 1. Don't forget to add your seam allowance back to that position, and then you finish the armhole like this. Note, I dropped the shoulder by 1, okay? So the next thing now is to move to the chest line, and you're going to input the bust circumference divided by 4 plus your seam allowance. Then you go to the waistline, you import the waist circumference divided by 4 plus 1 inch dart, and then plus your seam allowance. And you're going to connect the points together. So the next thing is just to put your neckline. Your neckline depends on what you want, okay? And that's it. We are done with the back bodice. Next is just to cut it out, and you are going to use it to cut the Ankara fabric. So I'll fold my Ankara into 2. I'll put my interfacing on top of it. Then I'll place my lining on it and cut it out. And that's it. We are done cutting. So let's move on to the sewing machine. So the first thing you're going to do is to sew in your darts for both the upper part and the skirt part. The length of the back dart is 6 inches. So sew in your dart accordingly. So after sewing in the darts, the next thing now is just to join the upper part together with the down part. Right side facing right side like this. You join on the waistline with ½ inch seam allowance. Ensure your dart is matching, okay? Okay, so at this point I've used the lining to turn the Ankara fabric. So the next thing now is just to close the center back and you fix your zipper. So when you're fixing your zipper, make sure you follow the shape, okay? So just look at the way I'm doing it. You know, I added 1.75 inch for the zip allowance, and I've already used half to turn with the lining, so I was left with 1.2. So I'm now measuring that 1.2 just like this. Can you see the way the shape is? Make sure you follow the way the shape appear and measure the 1.2 from beginning all the way to where you want your slits to start from. Then when you are done, you connect the points together like this. And then from the waistline, you're going to measure 9 inches downward. And from that 9 inches, you're going to stitch it together following the shape of the zip allowance all the way to the position where you want your slit to start from. And after that, you're going to fix your zipper. And the back is ready. That will be the end of the tutorial for today. If you have not subscribed to this channel yet, please kindly subscribe and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.